The year was 2016. Two boys, nay, brothers, were being kids. On a tube called YouTube, they stumbled upon a game. One that will not only shape their humor, but also shape them as a person. One that they probably most definitely shouldn't have been watching, but they did so anyway. That game is Conker's Bad Fur. Now that I can actually form my own opinion and not just panic whenever I realize that Super Barberman R is a game I don't like, let's take a look back at the game that showed me the not so pretty parts of life. So, what do you say, Paul?
No.
Okay. Well, let's see if the King of Drunks, it'll make sense once I actually get into the game. Very own game actually aged well.
Diddy Kong Racing!
Okay, hear me out. So, in Diddy Kong Racing, one of the playable characters is Conker, but he looks different. He also sounds different. That's just the accent that Luna has in the Deke dub of Sailor Moon. In all honesty, I only put like a couple minutes into this game, and once I figured out what the hell I was doing, I actually had fun with myself. Granted, I only tried the first course, but who knows, I might actually revisit this. Anyway, the reason why I'm mentioning this game is because while Conker is different here, Banjo is...
I'm Banjo!
Pretty much the same. So, what's the deal? Well, as you see, it turns out that Conker's Bad Fur Day wasn't even supposed to be his bad day. Originally known as Conker's Quest before changing to 12 Tales Conker 64. This was a 3D platformer akin to Mario 64. You could run, but you can also swing around trees, swim. You can punch, but also rev up those punches for a stronger punch. You can also dig your way in and out with a specific dirt block. As Conker, you can use your slingshot, unicycle, and rocket. As Berry though, she's given a cute little dino. It seems that they were both able to react to their surroundings. It also seems that throughout the stages, the characters were appropriate hats. Huge giant acorns seemed to be enemies of the games. Barry's gameplay was gonna be more puzzle heavy than Conker's. A co-op mode was also available along with a 4-player deathmatch. Really, I could go on and on about what the game was like, but it would take forever. Basically, this game was developed along with Banjo-Kazooie. Guess who came out quicker? And because of that came a lot of criticism, mainly people complaining about it being too kid-friendly and too unoriginal. Are you goddamn kidding me? People were also comparing Banjo-Kazooie to this, but eventually we had to give in by giving this game a complete makeover. Even after the GBC game, Conker's Pocket Tales released. The result was Conker's Bad Fur Day, released in March 2001, pretty much after the Nintendo 64 was already dead. So, what are we waiting for? Let's actually get into the game. Okay, I did forget one thing. Not everything was a lost cause. For example, the Rome theme ended up being used for another game. the zip lining theme. So our story starts out with an Orange Clockwork parody as King Conker, see I told you it makes sense, narrates the story about his very bad day. It starts out with Conker walking into the bar. Several hours later he tries to call Barry, who has a major design change. Well, what's going on here? Is it supposed to be like Crass and Tana? Or Jessica Rabbit and Roger Rabbit? So he gets her answering machine instead, and he tells her his buddies are off to war. As a lie.
Love you. I think she bought it. Conker, put the phone down. Oh, right. Whose round is it? Yours. What, again? Okay.
Meanwhile, in a distant castle, the king is having trouble. The table fell over and broke the glass of milk. Oh no, the horror, the terror, the travesty, oh the humanity. Conker is basically flat out drunk. Oh hey look, it says weasels on the drum. Get it? Weasels, beetles. So after exiting the bar, see, there it is, there's the drunk part. But on his way home, quotation mark, he ends up getting lost and finds himself somewhere with a hangover. So the game finally gives us control as Conker can't walk really fast or jump high. He also says things.
Oh, that's the last time I drink it.
This is like the I should have had so many pizzas from Nuts and Bolts. What a great start. But eventually you meet the scarecrow by the name of Birdie. Why does he sound like a raspier and tried to Michelangelo? He explains us how the giant bees on the floor should be stood on, and when the B button is pressed, the item given is context sensitive. After getting him a bottle, he opens the gate that leads directly to the other bee. That's cool, but I'm feeling a little lazy. Let's use the one I'm still standing on. No. After healing from the hangover, Conker can now walk and run, but also hover with his tail and smack stuff with a frying pan. Where did the frying pan come from? Conker is honestly a little too slippery for my liking, especially when stopping. In this part, you can't die for now. Let me repeat that. For now. There's a switch that once flipped opens the door you previously came across. A key with eyes is inside and will try to run away from you. This is another recurring thing you'll do. Sometimes it's to open a door, sometimes it's to feed someone else. They aren't very hard to smack, but at first you might not get the hang of it. After going through the unlocked door, Conker finds a gargoyle statue. Too comfortable to move. Honestly, I can relate. You need to get closer to him, but quickly smack him with a frying pan before he smacks you.
Stupid little...
Well, that was easy. Unfortunately, the path behind gets blocked by a giant boulder. Take go, goddammit. Using the boulder to our advantage, Conker blows up the boulder and goes through the path. The king from earlier has his stereotypical German scientist find out a solution to fix the table. In a fit of rage and hilarious quotation mark consecutive swearing, he throws out the floating chocolate, landing near Conker. Chocolates are this game's health. You get 9 in total. Each time you get hurt, 1 block flies off. Fall damage is a thing. If you fall down from somewhere not high, you just lose a block. If you fall from a very high place, however, you splatter into pieces. But anyway, Conker ends up at the same sign he passed when he was drunk. On the right, a queen bee is crying because the hive was stolen. They really love making ugly jokes with her, but her design is what's making the joke not land for me. They didn't really try to make her look ugly. She ends up looking just fine. On the left, the wasp has the stolen hive out in the open. If you stole something, you wouldn't want to just leave it out in the open. Someone can just snatch it and run away. Like that. So the wasp noticed you tried to take back the hive and go after you. It's really not hard to not get hit by them. Really, the only thing to avoid is the grass since they slow you down. So you return the hive to the rightful owner. She defends it by, oh, I don't know, defending herself.
Eat that, mother buzzer.
And that one pun would end up having me and my brother used to curse without actually cursing. She hands you this game's equivalent of jiggies, a fat stack of cats that trash talks you. Unfortunately, Birdie takes it away in exchange for the game's instruction manual. The money comes back to Conker after a lame fart joke. Though. Another thing you'll be doing is using a slingshot, or as the game calls it. It's not always a slingshot, but you get this third-person aiming system. It's clear the game needed a radical aim. Half the time it looks like I got it right, only to find out I didn't. And the camera is also not that great. When you can't move, it's in an awkward position. Moving it is like trying to walk through water. Slow, clunky, and leads to a lot of... So after curiosity killed the cat, or injured the squirrel in this case, we move on to a split path where it basically comes down to don't go in the smelly one, entering the not dirty one. An overweight mouse is causing Jack and his girl trouble. Jack sends you to Bob to allow you access to the cheese farm. It's a back and forth to give the mouse 3 cheese. That's fine, but I always seem to have trouble with the other Grump bootlegs. I sometimes manage to get myself squashed. The mouse explodes with more farts and burps. Yippee. Riveting. So inside the barn, a talking paintbrush, and stereotypical Texas Pittsburgh talk about giving Conker trouble. Upon getting closer to Pittsburgh,
What are you doing in my barn?
Well, I never. It's a talking
this is gonna take a while, isn't it?
Down here, hurry, boy.
No, I'm from the 21st century.
I don't rightly recollect liking your type. Therefore, I conclude that I was gonna kick your butt all around this barn like there's no tomorrow. I was gonna stick my big fork right in yours.
Were your parents related, like before they were married?
Right, that's it. I was gonna give you a whooping. Here we go.
So the aim is to essentially trick the pitchfork into destroying all the hay. Sometimes he would miss, but he would usually be very accurate. But I wouldn't really say he was that hard. But after that, his friends are so disappointed in him that they decide to suggest to make him kill himself by a noose. There's only one problem though.
What are you doing? You stupid bastard!
However, a terrifying huge hay appears. Who is he and why is he here? What a good question. So outside we meet this king bee who's trying to get some honey from the flower. The only reason Conker didn't refuse to help was because the flower has big pajamas. The attempt to talk to the flower fails though, but we run into tickly bees and the goal is to collect a lot of them. Remember when I talked about fall damage? I died quite a lot because of slippery controls. Many deaths later and I need therapy. I really need therapy. So after to get the money, Conker re-enters the barn from above. A bunch of bats are there and they can easily make you fall. On these poles you go across, you can press B to burn all the bats, but it's very picky and precise on when you can press B. Because of that, I couldn't even do it half the time. So after a bunch of failed knife throws, that's actually supposed to happen, it took me a while to realize that you weren't supposed to be able to hit it because the game doesn't tell you nothing. Conker becomes friends with a pitchfork. Remember that big scary hay from earlier? Well, it turns out his strategy is just turning around in circles. When you land your first hit, he sets himself on fire for some reason, and an obvious Terminator parody plays out. Now that I think about it, didn't the original movie also had a scene like that?
Hey buddy, you got a dead cat in there or what?
Several hits later, the floor crumbles, leaving Conker limping. It seems that the big scary hay may have died, but of course he hasn't. But now he has Susan 9mm missiles basically. So in this fight, because Conker is limping, he moves a lot more slower, so it's best to stay on the pitchfork as much as possible. But instead of hitting him, this time there's a big red shiny button behind him. You just gotta get behind him without being grabbed and press it several times. Easier said than done, however. You see, when I pressed the button, there was always a chance I could be grabbed and thrown off the pitchfork. Combine that with the new missiles being very ruthless, and yeah, this one is very hard. After it explodes though, the pitchfork is split into two, but Conker has an idea.
Okay, let's see. Hey, hold still.
Scotch tape. However, the place is leaking and
Yep, typical.
Oh, anyway, Mr. Squirrel, I've gotta go. See ya.
Whoa, don't leave me here. Well, at least you let me on a... I really hate you right now. The water, or at least I think that's what it is, starts to flood, and what's worse is that there are broken electric cables. Of course you have to cut them loose as to not get fried to a scroll crisp. The thing is, the cable keeps waving, and what makes it worse is that you have to aim precisely, but it's difficult when your aim is off, with no indication of where you're throwing it at. This room is also pretty dark. Because of how dark it is, it makes it so that sometimes you can miss some of them and then you die. So after another typical paycheck,
Who wants to be a millionaire? Me, actually.
okay, that's actually pretty funny. You go on a difficult climb that's only really difficult because they pasted over a bunch of wasps. Yeah, because why be more difficult when you can just copy and paste the same enemy? Reaching the top, you then dive with a what the fuck? I think I get it. I think I finally get it. The more I go through this game, the more I question my sanity. Also, he can do that? So after exiting and going through the smelly path, we see that the stereotypical German scientist solution is just to use a red squirrel, which I find really funny. In the building that was in the smelly path, you meet this insect thing that has the same amount of patience as Gordon Ramsay.
Knows what's for. Oh, really? If you want some poo? Alright, get your ass in there. There's these cows. Get them in there. Get them to crap, and I'll make it a bowl of poo. And you can do what the hell you like with it. Go on your break. You still here? That. Oh, charming.
There's a bunch of ropes waiting to be climbed. I didn't really like this part because the camera was a pain, making it more likely that I would most likely fail a jump. And I did, several times. The music being a bunch of farts also doesn't really help. After that fart fiasco, we then meet a bull who really doesn't like red.
I hate red. Go away.
Whoa! Take it, he doesn't like red. What? I don't see anything red around. Oh. Here we go again.
Now there's something I never got as a kid. Sure, Conker was technically red, but he was more orange red than red. And it made even less sense in the remake, considering in that one, he wasn't even red anymore, he was orange. After several not great platforming, you managed to control the bull. He's kinda hard to control. It's like if he uses tank controls, which haven't aged well. You run into the stereotypically British cow who gets sick of your
vigilante nonsense.
and she drinks this odd purple stuff that
I say! This is far from dignified. Oh, I hope...
ew. You kill and you rinse and repeat. I won't be able to recap the entire game. It's 8 hours. There's only so much time I have. The things you do in chapters change, like there's a chapter that starts out with a Private Ryan parody. This game does a lot of parodies. I mentioned a few earlier, but they also do parodies for Alien and The Matrix. They are on the nose, but if you haven't seen the movies, you wouldn't know that, with the exception of Alien. Come on, that one's obvious. But going back, the platforming isn't that great, and ironically, the level I was excited the most as a kid Saving Private Ryan level sucks. For one thing, you have the third-person control problem I mentioned earlier, but they throw a bunch of teddies at you. You have these stupid lasers that's hard to go through, and half the time you can't see nothing. Or how about the first time you get to use your guns? As much as I love zombies, what they expect out of you using these not great third-person controls is a bit much. Hoverboarding is the worst. You go way too fast, you can barely turn, and if you go so much as lick the wall, you die. Let's get a little more into that. You see, dinosaurs are all around the stages, but they barely give you time to maneuver over them. You see where I'm going with this? The attempts at variety reminds me of Sonic Adventure 2. In that game, Sonic Team jumbled and fumbled a bunch of ideas that because of that, I only end up liking a tiny bit of the game, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Everyone else's gameplay hasn't aged so well. That's kind of the same problem I have for Conker. I only enjoyed the platforming, even then it's not that much, because of Conker's slipperiness. But still, the bosses are the same, you dump stuff on them, attack, and repeat. But what about whenever the game does something more than busy work? Not only are they quick, but they are frustrating. Look at the swimming, for example. Conker doesn't control that great. His breath meter is also tight. Now the story is pretty good, but sometimes when it misses with the humor, it really misses. Maybe it's because my humor is different, but I couldn't help but notice. Never meet your heroes, they say. Let me add to that. Childhood games don't always age gracefully. And in my case, Conker's Bad Fur just has too many things going against it. Don't get me wrong, I didn't hate it. What am I, Game Dude?
Look at me, I'm Donkey Kong!
But the best thing about the game, the cutscenes can be viewed online. But on the 24th of September 2002, Microsoft bought Rare. Chris Seaver pitched them the idea for the sequel, Conker's Other Bad Day, a sequel that would have continued where the first one left off. But Microsoft rejected it in favor of the remake, Live and Reloaded. People tend to favor the original over this, and for a while, I used to be that way too. But after actually trying the remake, nope, I'm sorry, it's the best version. Sure, some characters may look dead inside and they censored stuff, but 1, the graphics looks way better. 2, I'd argue that by censoring it, it actually makes the game funnier. And 3, those 2 reasons still aren't enough to determine whether the original is better. But now, let me show you some more actual reasons. The controls have been made a lot better, changes have been made to make the game flow better, and they added a fun, cheeky self-awareness that this is indeed a remake, for some parts anyway. They added a new multiplayer. It's not my cup of tea, but I'm sure those who enjoy shooters will enjoy this. This is the most definitive version, so I recommend that one. But with that being said, where does that leave Conker? Well, there was an attempt to make that multiplayer mode into its own spin-off game titled Conker Gets Medieval, but that didn't go through, and all we have are concept art. Young Conker is a thing. Yeah. But from the interviews I've seen of Chris, he doesn't seem interested in making a sequel. I don't really blame him, seeing as how humor can greatly change in 22 years. But what I don't understand is how Conker never managed to get smashed. Banjo Kazooie could, then so can Conker. With that being said, this is Joseph, and I'll see you guys next.
Yeah, that was me, and all I gotta say to you is, f*** you.
Alright, that's a get over you.